Funding for Assignment Iowa has been provided by Friends, the Iowa Public Television Foundation, and by AARP Iowa, dedicated to enhancing quality of life for all as we age through information, advocacy, and service. AARP Iowa, the power to make it better. And by Vermeer Charitable Foundation, which together with the employees of the Vermeer Manufacturing Company encourages you to support public television. And supported in part by the Iowa Arts Council, with funds from the National Endowment for the Arts American Masterpieces Initiative.
What is art? How does art reach us? And when it does, what does it say? What impact does it have? Art has the power to transform the way we think, the way we look at the world. Art can open our eyes to a richer, more meaningful life. The masterpieces of history, housed in great museums like the Des Moines Art Center, have exuded this power for centuries. The artworks of our time by artists in our state will continue to do the same. In this program, we'll introduce you to 3 Iowa artists. Will their work have the power to reach you? Will their creative spirit connect with yours? Our first artist is Fred Easker, a Cedar Rapids artist who, like Grant Wood once did, finds inspiration in the rolling hills of northeast Iowa.
A great day for me is getting up early in the morning, getting in my truck. Usually, if I can't find anything good on public radio, I often have CDs along, like Dvorak or something like that. And just driving through the countryside, sun on my face, often driving into the sun. You know, that is a great day for me. I love that. And even if, you know, I can drive 300 miles and not stop anywhere, but it's still a great day for me. And then I just take lots and lots of photographs at that site, and then come home and see if I have anything that I feel like working with. What I find interesting about the Iowa landscape is this sort of gently rolling terrain. But they're also, because it's sort of gently rolling, it also seems to have this kind of energy that I pick up on. And certainly when at certain times of the day, like in the autumn, when the fields are glowing, and it's just sometimes just phenomenal. And I've written about this. It's kind of like, I think the character of the Iowa people is similar to that too. It's kind of understated, and you have to kind of discover it a little bit. And that's kind of what I think there's a metaphor for the land and the people who live here. What I'm going to be doing is I'm going to start just painting the edges, and it's basically how I present my paintings. And the history behind that is I sold a painting many years ago to an architectural firm, and they asked if it not be framed, if I would just paint the edges. And so I then decided I would just kind of wrap the painting around the edges. My father was a postman, and I had done a painting of him in his postal uniform, life size. And I was very timid about bringing this work. It was well received, and then I learned that there was a exhibit at the Des Moines Art Museum, and so I entered this painting in that. As it turned out, my name was announced, and I won first prize in painting. And at that point, I decided I should maybe think about this a little more seriously. This is a portrait of my son when he was 13, and he has this wonderful head of hair that he kept trying to grow long, and because it's somewhat curly and thick. Instead of growing, the kids were wearing it down, his just sort of became a bush. But I was really interested, just artistically, I was really interested in just the light on the face and getting those kind of subtle colors that it's really hard to sometimes get in shadow on faces. And at some point, I made a decision that I really was going to paint what I wanted to paint, and all of that sort of whatever success or what would come my way would be because I was just working on what I wanted to do as opposed to following a particular trend. Yeah, and I actually spent a great deal of time on the compositions, and that in terms of balance, and sometimes I do things that you're not supposed to do as well, like put a road down the center of it, or have the center of interest in the middle, or that it's a symmetrical thing. And because you're not supposed to do that, I've done a number of works that the rows are down the center just because I want to see if I can make them interesting. It's a challenge. This is actually a piece that I did for the folks in Ottumwa. I had commissioned to do a large painting for them. For large painting, I had to be really excited about it, otherwise it would be a problem. And so I really was interested in something with lots of contrast, again, that graphic quality, that would sort of that would make it hold the wall, and still allow me to deal with some of those more meditative things, the things that are sort of subtle and more interesting to look at. I think that they really are kind of like touchstones for people, and that sort of takes them to a different place that may be a real place that they've experienced or just another psychological place.
On Christmas morning, we all came downstairs to open our packages, and I noticed that there was some sort of odd-shaped package sitting there, and I thought, well, maybe it's like a suit that's folded or something. I opened it up and wept. Just the emotions, the feeling that I had from this painting took me back to just an exact moment in my childhood when I was riding down the road in my parents' car, looking out the window in the springtime, and seeing the corn or whatever planted, and maybe being 6 inches or 8 inches high, and a farmhouse in the distance, and just the serenity and the feeling of being close to the earth. This painting just pulled me right into that moment of my life, and it's still emotional for me to talk about it. But it was such a strong feeling, and I looked at this and I thought, how could somebody do something like this, and how could they do it in a way that pulled me in like that?
One of the interesting things that happens is that people tell me that they see a Fred Easker when they're driving out in the countryside, and I actually hear that a lot. But that's a really nice thing to hear from people, because it means that people are looking and they're connecting that with me, and that I'm having an impact, which is what I think what being an artist is about, communicating with people.